We want to talk about Ironman and shoulders. All three of us have been impacted in the past by shoulder injuries, or Carl's case, you have a unique scenario, so why don't you start us off?
Yeah, so I was training for iron distance race. I was on my bike one day, just riding down the road, and a lady turned right into me. A lot of stuff happened, but one of the things was that I separated my shoulder. I got a grade 2 separation, which the doctor said is the most painful of both. If you have a grade 3, your shoulder just like completely separates apart, and you don't have pain in the long term as much. And if it's grade 1, they can put it back together. Grade 2, they kind of just got to leave it there, but it caused a lot of pain over time, arthritis and things like that. So sure enough, I had pain, and even through physical therapy and a number of different things, the pain didn't go away. So over the next 3-4 years, I just kind of dealt with the pain, and then it just got to the point where I was like, I had already stopped racing, and the pain was still there. It was bothering me, and I just figured it was going to be part of my life. And after going to several doctors to have it checked out, they were just like, take this medicine or do this. And I really wasn't happy with that answer. And so at some point I was like, I just got to get back to working out again. And I started swimming in the pool. And my initial thought was, this is just going to hurt my shoulder more, right? And of course I had the general fatigue as, you start swimming again after many years of not being in the pool. And what I found after a week or so was like the pain had gone away a little bit, right? And as the weeks turned into about 3 months, one day I woke up about 3 months later, and I remembered that like I didn't have any pain last night. The pain had gone away, my shoulder didn't hurt. And what most people do when they have pain is they stop exercising, right? If you have lower back pain, if you have shoulder pain, you think, if I swim or I run or I bike, like that's only going to make my pain worse. And in my case, what I found was both my lower back pain that happened from the accident and the pain in my shoulder had started to slowly go away, and eventually the shoulder pain is completely gone. I haven't, I think probably 3 months into swimming, the pain was gone, right? So, but I know that swimming doesn't always take away pain for people, and sometimes actually they had no pain, and then they started swimming, and after a couple months they start having pain. And I know that's an issue that you've had, right?
Well, yeah, it was my first time training for an Ironman, and I had never really learned good technique with freestyle, and now after meeting Pat, I realize I'm still learning technique for freestyle, but I found after a couple months my shoulders started hurting, and then I told my coach, my Ironman coach, and he gave me some suggestions, and then I tried those, and I talked to other people, and so on and so on. I just kept getting worse, and I didn't have a lot of time to mess around because I needed to be in my routine because I had such a short window to train for my full Ironman. Never done an Ironman before, even a triathlon. So I had to figure it out, and finally I talked to someone and I got the information I needed, and I found that what was happening was with my technique, the thing that was incorrect about it is I was going out with my stroke, and I would just start pushing down, kind of like while my elbow is still down, basically. So my elbow was the issue, and instead of just coming out and pushing down, I really needed to rotate out, and Michael will demonstrate as I'm still learning better at this. I needed to rotate out or down, right, and then apply my force, and pull back and put it like that. So okay, perfect. But what I was doing, which I know a lot of people do, is I was just coming like this. I was just like kind of coming straight down and pushing, and it was putting a lot of leverage up into my shoulder.
So let me get this straight, right? You're in the water swimming, right? And you put your arm in, and you would start your force pushing straight down.
Right, that force was just like, right into there.
As you push down here, it put a lot of force up in your shoulder area.
Mm-hmm. So
instead of getting bent and then pulling back.
Another thing my coach, that person told me was to focus on, to help me get the time to do it the right way, is like instead of just stroke, glide, and then go, which gave me time to do the catch, which I wasn't giving myself time to get into the right position, right? And so that also helps, just thinking when you're going stroke, glide, and then down, right? And so the correct way to drill to improve it as well, rather than just us telling you that, I think the drill to help you is important too. It's about rotating your arm but not your hand, and this is something Michael did in
it's about that muscle isolation
it.
control, so that you make sure that you can reverse it so that you can really get that pull. Because the thing that he's mentioning is when you're not doing that, you're using some shoulder or muscles that you don't really want to, that are a lot smaller, like your pecs and your bicep, versus when you rotate, you're able to use a much larger muscle group and get a much stronger pull as you're going. And
protect that shoulder at the same time. So the rotation of the elbow, you'll notice, right? And
bad, good.
And I think Michael's going to talk about his story and the rotation of shoulders. It was what you'll probably finish with.
Yeah, for sure.
Before we get into the product recommendation, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So another issue that often happens when you are swimming, getting shoulder issues while you're swimming, is because you're not getting enough roll. And so, he mentions the pull, which is very important, but the roll is equally as important. Because when you're pulling and not getting that roll, same concept, you're using the wrong style muscles or the wrong muscles that are much smaller, and so it's going to definitely create more injury if you don't allow yourself to really reach, which gives you the leverage to be able to bend that old elbow up and really get that pull.
And what was the lesson? Often it's like it takes an injury to learn a lesson, right? What we want to do with everything that we do is trying to give you the best techniques, the best information, the best ways to prevent that from happening. But in your case, what was it that you discovered this? Unfortunately,
yeah,
it wasn't something that you learned. You had to learn the hard way.
Correct.
How did it come up, and what did you do to correct it? Just technique change or what?
So actually, when I was about 15 years old, in the middle of a competition, my shoulder dislocated, which was very, very, very painful. And actually it was popped back into place on the pool deck by someone who knew what they were doing, but not totally. And so I really created a whole lot of negativity in my shoulder. And so I had to do a couple exercises that really kind of helped build it up. And they're going to discuss some as well for all sorts of shoulder injuries. But the one that really helped me was I had to kind of reach my hands out like this. And, I would put my fingers together like that and my thumbs down. And I would just rotate 30 to 40 times each direction. And so I would really be able to feel that weight kind of begin to build on those shoulders, and you start to use muscles that even when you're swimming all the time you don't use, but muscles that are really going to help repair all those muscles that, kind of keep your shoulder in place. And so it's important to do that. Eventually, you'll get to the point where you can start to add weight, but this exercise is more about consistency rather than weight. This is not a muscle building exercise, this is a repair exercise. So you're going to do this for weeks and then maybe add a 2.5 pound weight if you've got it, a 5 pound weight, but very, very minimal weight so that you're really healing and not hurting. And then there's one other exercise too that you can do with the small weight, light weight, is just lift up right to side to side.
Right here.
Yep, perfect, just like that. And these are 10 pounds. Like, that feels weight because you can probably curl and do things a lot heavier, but starting on 5 pounds is very intelligent because these muscles oftentimes are not as developed as the rest of the muscles in your shoulder. So basically what you're going to do is lift it up. You're not going to go up like that. You're going to just bring it straight to 90 degrees and then right back down. And then bring it back up. Hold it for a second or two, and then slowly right back down. And those two exercises, I promise, will really help bring more supportive muscles into your shoulders.
Awesome. And another one that'll really help too, that I do probably the most out of all of them, is you can just take take a band, and traveling with something like this is just so easy. It's so small and compact. Any band that you can get. We recommend that you get the Arena brand. Recommended by Coach Pat, since she's been in the community for 40 years. She knows what she's talking about. It's usually enough said when she asks you to get a product, right? But in this case, I'll just kind of come just so you guys can see on the camera on that direction here. Basically, what you'll do with your band is you want to start. The most important part of this exercise is you're going to be pulling out, away from whatever it is that the force is joined against. But you want to keep this part. It's going to be kind of awkward. It has to be touching, like really close. It has to be all the way in the entire time that you're pulling out with your arm. Just nice and slow out and nice and slow back in. You want to just do that till as it's necessary, and then switch to the other side. And
one other thing too, that he mentioned, you want to touch, but oftentimes putting a hand there too to kind of get that shoulder at 90 degrees will be helpful. So if you're a little skinnier, do something like that. That way it's kind of just going straight down and helping you get that angle. But he nailed it. This is one of the greatest exercises and so easy to travel with, so you can keep that consistency, because with shoulder stuff, consistency is the key. It's not about weight or any of that. It's about every day waking up, making sure that your muscles are stimulated so they continue to grow and develop and get you stronger and healthier.
Yeah, this is really the only one I'm even doing right now. It's just with the band as I travel with this, and we didn't even know we'd be doing a recommendation video today. So that's it. The recommendation is the Arena bands, and go ahead and kick some butt out there, you guys.